Perfect.
All right.
Nice.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to No Code North, our fabulous little lodge here. And we are excited to present to you today a workshop with Harshit Agrawal from Finsweet, who's going to show us how to work with the client-first naming system, which actually came out about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, and has evolved over the last few years. And Harshit's going to take us through the most recent version and help us understand why client-first is a naming system that would help you build with Webflow. So take it away, Harshit.
Thank you so much, Penny, for the introduction. A little bit about myself. Myself, Harshit Agrawal. I work at Finsweet. I have been actively working with Client First and have been part of the updates, the creation of the system itself, and I really enjoy it. So today, as Penny said, we are going to go over the whole system, go over the overview of the system. We may also see the future of the system, and then we can have a Q&A session as well in this stream. So I would like to start with the overview of the system and the reason why we have this system in place, basically. So as Penny said, that we are going to go over naming system, client first naming system. So I would like to add a small note on top of that introduction. We try not to call client first a naming system. And the reason is because it's not just a naming system. There are more things involved, like strategies, structure. So we try to call it a style system, or a complete framework. So again, no worries if you called it naming system, but just a correction on top of that. So that's how we see client first right now. Client first style system. Okay, so so client first style system. I just want to add a little bit more introduction to that. A lot of people have a misconception that client first is only meant for clients, but that's not the real case. When we are developing, the name is of course client first. Our goal is to make client friendly website, easy to scale website, easy to manage website. However, we also because we are developers, of course we have a team of developers as well. When making decisions, we try to keep a sweet spot between developer and client management itself. So again, it's client first, but we are also taking care of developers and adding updates that is suitable for both clients and developers to manage and scale their website. So that is one thing. So right now I am on finsweet.com/client first, which is the official website for client first. You can read the documentation here, and I'm going to go over the documentation really quick and see what is how client first works and what are the things that are part of the system. And then once we go over the system, if we have time, I would love to create a hero section of webflow.com using client first system. That should be pretty quick, but yeah, let's see. I will start with the introduction and going over the documentation really quick. So as you can see, there are two options we have. We have getting the clonable, so you can click the clonable option. Okay, right now, okay, I think there is some problem with my system. It might be VPN or something. Let me open it in a different tab. First clonable. Just a second. Okay, there we go. So here we go. Here we have the clonable. So you can clone this starter project, which contains all the pre-existing or inbuilt classes of client first. But let's go over the documentation and see the docs. First of all, let's see why we created the system. Because again, in Webflow, if I give you a page to design, there can be 100 ways to design the page or develop the page in Webflow, right? So we try to create a system of strategies. As you can see here as well, it's a set of guidelines and strategies. So we try to create a set of guidelines and strategies which help you create a manageable websites and easy to scale website. So this comes with naming convention. If you are confused with how to name your classes in Webflow, client first is your answer. How to organize your project, structure, and all that, then again, answer is client first. How to maintain utility across all pages. So again, we are going to talk about utility classes and system that unifies multiple pages or classes that are global to use. You can reuse them. So basically, reusable classes and components. So this is part of client first. And again, how to deliver a project that my client loves, right? So this is what client first basically covers. And we felt the need of a system in place in when we are working as a team at Finsweet. Most of our products are mostly developed or come out when there is a need in the team itself. That's how we find, okay, there is a need in the market as well, so let's build something. This is how client first was also built. We felt a need of a unifying system so that all of our developers can create website which maintain a similar style guide, similar development pattern. So that's what client first does for us. It's kind of it helps you unify the development throughout developers as well, not just you. So if you have a team of 10, all of them are using client first, it will be easy to switch or add new people to the work. So they will be familiar with the project before client first. Or if you are not using any framework, then it gets a bit difficult because everyone have their own development style. So this is what client first is also solving. So let's read the documentation and see what are the basically guidelines and set of guidelines and strategies that we are talking about. I'm not going to go super deep into this because it will take so much time, and I don't want to I want to use this time wisely that we have here. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's start with the class strategy. Again, we are calling it a strategy, we are not calling it a solid rule, because again, classes, naming classes is super subjective. I mean, there can be multiple ways to name classes. So we try to provide you a set of guidelines so that you can name your own classes the right way. Of course, there are structure and units that we use in client first. But again, let's just start with the classes strategy. That is the one thing. So we have a few different types of classes: utility classes, custom classes, and global classes. Again, the name conveys their role as well. So if I speak about the utility classes, you can think of it as a classes which are pre-built into the system. You get these classes as in the starter project. These are classes that are like highly reusable, and you can also grow the library of utility classes inside your own project. So that is what they do. They are global set of classes which are reusable for like text elements, text styles, heading styles, and all of them. A few example is, for example, we have background color primary. So you can see this doesn't contain any word which restricts this class to be used on a section, on a particular section, on a particular page. By the name itself, it conveys that this is a global class or a reusable class. So background color primary can be used in any section or any div blocks or anywhere on the website where we want the background color to be primary, right? Again, you can see we are not using the color specifically because of the introduction of variables. Now we are not using the color name directly. I will come to that shortly. But right now you can see we have background color primary, font size large. Again, this can be used on paragraphs, text elements. It can be used on headings. They are utility classes. You are free to use them and reuse them on any page. Then we have custom classes. So custom classes are the classes which you create yourself for any specific page or component. So let's say when you are building site, you felt like, okay, I need something different that is not available in utility class. Then you create a custom class for it. A lot of our sections, they contain a custom class, and they can be reusable, and they can be page specific or section specific as well. When we name classes, how we name it defines whether it's a global class or it's a like only a unique class. So for example, if I am creating a about section, right, or I'm creating a features card section, let's say I have a design which is feature cards. Let's say I will go to maybe Webflows. Sorry. For example, let's see if I can. Okay, let's take an example of this section right here. More size by Finsweet. You can see we have a card layout right here, right? So if you want to use the card layout in multiple parts of the website, and in multiple types of section. Here it is working as, let's say, showcase. You want this as portfolio, maybe features. Then in that case, I would name this as cards list or cards item. But if I want this to be specific to this page only, then I will name this something as, or this section only, then I will name this something as more specific, like feature card. I will name this as showcase card, something like that. So how you name it defines whether it's going to be a global class or a unique class itself. So that's how we have custom classes. Here you can see we have heading, background layer, and example. As an example, testimonial slider, headshot. Again, you can see these classes are custom classes. However, they are still reusable because you can use them in multiple testimonials on different pages. Now let's go to global classes. So global classes, as name suggests, they are classes which can be used throughout the project. You can reuse them in different sections, different components, in different pages. Again, global means everywhere, anywhere in the project. So again, as an example, all the utility classes by default are global classes, but custom classes can be global as well. You can call them global custom classes. For example, FAQ item can be reused on multiple pages or in multiple sections. If you want to create a variation of FAQ item, let's say, which is having more padding, right? Then comes the use of combo classes, which helps us create a variation of style or a class on top of the base class, basically. So we have FAQ item as base. I can create a combo class that has more padding. So I would name it as FAQ item is more padding. We have this prefix of is, which helps us define this class as a combo class. So this is the rule set of guidelines and rules. So we use is dash and then a keyword that defines the use of that combo class. So here is an example of button and is brand. So it will take all the styles from the original button, just a minor variation or any type of variation that we have is going to be with the is brand combo class. Please feel free to stop me, guys, and ask any questions that might come up. So other thing that we try to promote is not deep stacking classes, which means when you are building sites, we don't want you to have multiple classes stacked up in the selector. Maybe I should take a few seconds, open a project, clone a project, and show you exactly each concept line wise. I think that will be a better presentation. Let's take an example. Oh, could not. So the project is loading. Here I have cloned a starter project from here. And let's close this link. So we are at deep stacking. So by deep stacking, we mean I will give a few zooms so that everyone can see it clearly. There we go. So here we have selectors. What we don't want is to deep stack your classes like this. I'm just adding some random classes here. There we go. This is what we mean by deep stacking. It is not recommended to deep stack classes because it makes you hard to manage styles. When you go to different breakpoints, it is hard to manage the component itself when you deep stack. So that is the reason we avoid deep stacking. Yeah, there we go. The action of stacking many classes we use. We don't recommend stacking these classes, deep stacking classes, basically. You can, however, it's not like we are setting a hard value there. You can, of course, have a stacking classes, but it's you have to make that decision based on whether you really need it. If it's a must, you don't have any other way, a better way, then you can go ahead and do it, but try to do it up to only 3 classes or maximum at tops 4 classes. uh, Otherwise, create a new custom class which can be global as well. That is what we recommend using with client first, basically. So you can read the reasons. Again, I'm going to go over quickly. Inability to order styles in designer styles panel, which means, let's say I want to change some styles of this class, pointer events auto. So I cannot select the class really directly from selector. I will have to go back, type out the class again, So for example, like this, and then I can only change the style. So it's a bit inefficient way. That is what we have inability to reorder styles here. And also, if you want to reorder itself, so this was actually how to change the style. But if I want to reorder the whole thing, I cannot do it. I need to just go back and do it from the beginning, add classes from the beginning. So that's what we mean by inability to reorder. Then slower workflow, again, inefficient, increased learning curve, because you will need to keep managing classes throughout the breakpoints and all. Sometimes CSS specificity will kick in, and you might also struggle with that. Then writing CSS in Webflow is fast. Uh, Yeah, so basically this point, writing CSS is fast, efficient through Webflow styles panel. We can create new classes, visually add CSS property to the class. The process is very fast. So by this point, we mean that, if you are deep stacking, spending time on basically styling it, it is much faster if you just create a new combo class. That is much efficient in this case. CSS size saving is not too significant. Sometimes we deep stack just to avoid new CSS classes or new CSS style properties in our CSS file. But what we mean is it doesn't make a lot of difference when you deep stack versus when you not deep stack. So why not just go with a custom class? Yeah. So use custom class is the solution. Then comes the naming convention. Now, when we talk about naming convention, we have some, you can see some goals here. Like, I will read through a few of them. Like, we have no abbreviations, no shorthand, no confusion. For example, I am using, let's say, a layout, right? Layout vertical. So we are not going to call it layout dash VR, layout dash HR. We want to use full name, layout vertical, layout horizontal, or let's say background color, right? So we don't want to call it BG color primary. We want to call it background color primary. Again, we are going to this approach because with our original goal of making it easier for clients as well as developers. So it's kind of a sweet spot. So no abbreviations, no confusion. When naming classes, we want to focus on the the factors that basically decide the name of your class is the purpose of the class or the element itself. So by reading the name, you should understand what that class is meant for. It should provide a lot, as much as context possible for that particular element or component. So right now, for example, this one, it says hero grid, so we know this is part of a hero section and it's a grid. Here, hero content, we know it's part of hero section and it's covering the content of the hero section. So this is what I mean by context. So feel free to read through all of these through the documentations. The primary goal is, of course, to provide more context. And again, how you can decide this? Again, you have multiple factors. Check out the purpose of the element, position of the element in the page. Uh, you know, yeah, basically what defines the element itself. That can help you with the naming of the classes. Feel free to ask any questions if you have about this, or if you need any tips when naming the classes. Let's scroll down. I will try to cover more important parts. Okay, there we go. Meaningful names and keywords. Here we have blog list example here. So blog list wrapper, blog list, blog item. So when you read the names, it automatically tells you what this class is doing, the purpose of this class. So that is what our naming convention is doing here. Let's jump to core structure. So with client first, we define a core structure, the core HTML structure of a page. It's there for accessibility. It's there for following best practices in web basically, and following HTML semantic tags as well, the recommended semantic structure. So what is the core structure? So visually you can see it right here. So we start with a page wrapper. So everything in that page is wrapped inside the page wrapper. That's what page wrapper is doing. So here, the top level, you can see we have page wrapper. Inside that, we have main wrapper, which is covering the main content on the page. So here, if I go to example of this site, you can see main wrapper is having a tag of main, which is a HTML semantic tag. So it contains the main content of the page, like your sections, subsections, basically everything part of the main website, main content of the website. Then we start having sections. So for example, here we have section hero. We can have more sections like this. All comes under the main wrapper. So then we have inside section, we have padding global. Now here it becomes a bit flexible because you might want to have a padding global and you might not want to have it. By padding global, this class basically maintains right and left or horizontal padding throughout the website because we want to have some space on both of the websites. So this is what this class is doing, padding global. And if you see the style, it is having 2.5 RAM on both the sides. And here you can see a nested class, basically a combo class, which is padding section large. It's a utility class added as a combo class basically. So if I remove this last one now, you can see this one is only having left and right padding. This is to make sure left and right padding is same throughout the website and consistent. Now let's say the flexibility I'm talking about is, let's say for a particular section, you are not willing to have the left and right padding. You want to stretch the image to full section. Let's say if I take an example of the image, see if I take out the image, it's up to this point. Let's see if we have a better image. Let's take example of this placeholder. So you can see right now the image is expanding from left to right. Uh, Now this is the decision you can take. This is completely flexible. It's not mandatory to have padding global in all the sections. Again, you can remove it if you want to for your specific needs. Then we have container. There can be variants of the container like container large, small, and medium. You can create new ones if you want to. Containers, again, they keep the content maxed at a max width and in the center of the page. That's what container has been doing from the beginning. Yeah. And then inside the container, we can start having the component itself. Now, the structure from section to further down, it's kind of flexible. You can change their order. You can change, remove some items, add new items as well. It completely depends on you, how you want to structure inside the section based on your needs. But if you feel, if you need to design, if you need to develop the section that includes all of these classes, then this is how you do it. Basically, these are the classes that you use. And you can see none of them contains any abbreviations. They are completely having full words on this. Padding global. They are not like pad global or, you know, uh, yeah, something else maybe. Container large, it's again not container LR, it's container large. So that's how we are doing it. Again, you can read the explanation for each of the classes or each of the part of the structure. And then we can have the footer, which is generally kept outside. So right now in this example, I don't have a footer, but let me create a footer. Or can I take a footer? Okay, I don't have a footer in this example. I will quickly take a footer from elements in Webflow. So, oh, my bad. I keep hitting Control R instead of Control E. So my bad. There we go. Footer. And then elements, maybe from here. Start a library. Let's see. There we go, footer. And you can put it outside the main wrapper and in the last. So that's where we put footer. Also, just one more thing. And there we go, Webflow crashed. And I will just give it a refresh. One more thing is the navigation bar is also kept outside the main wrapper. So main wrapper only contains the section in easy words. The navigation bar and the footer is outside the main wrapper. So yeah, let's see what we have next. Next, we have sizes and rems. What we do is we use rems throughout the project. Of course, uh, you are allowed or you are free to use any other units as well, but the primary unit needs to be rem. This is for accessibility because when we are building sites in rem, it can be controlled by the user preference of the browser, user font preference of the browser. So I can, let's say a site is looking too small, the text is looking small, I cannot read it, or the content itself, the sizes, all of it, I can go to my browser settings, increase the font size, and it will my site built with client first will adapt accordingly. But if a site is built using pixels, it won't work. So again, to promote accessibility, we use RAMs throughout the project. The primary using unit is RAM. You can of course use unit like EMs, percentage, any unit that is available to you when you feel the need of it. uh, just make sure to keep accessibility in mind, and make sure that when user try to change, or just when user try to basically change the font or anything related to accessibility, it works as expected and it doesn't break what they're trying to do basically. Yeah. So this is why we are using RAM. The units itself, we call it a 4-point system. So we don't use it's not strict. Again, it's a bit flexible, but by default we use 4-point system, which means we use numbers that are multiple of 4, or odd even number, you can say. Again, 2, 4, 6 is not something we use regularly, but again, the point is like, if I show you the numbers itself, if I'm not sure if it is visible here. There we go. 4, 8, 16, 20, 24. Again, you can use something in between like 6 as well, but just when you need it. By default, this is the system that we recommend using. Sometimes we also call them magic numbers because they work the best out there. Yeah. So 4, of course, in some places you can have 2. In some places, there are exceptions when you can have 1. So you are completely free. Let's say in a scenario where your client wants you to strictly follow a number system that is not part of client first, you you may pitch them, hey, this is a better system. But if that's not the case, you are free to use any other number units as well. So again, this is by default. You can call it a guideline or a strategy, but you are free to use something in between as well. Yeah, so we have a table here. Again, you can see some exceptions. 2 px for spacing. Sorry, just a second. For typography, we have 14 pixel in some font size. You can use it. 1 pixel remains 1 pixel. Uh, we do not recommend converting this to RAM, because it creates, sometimes the rendering itself in some displays can be like inconsistent. Sometimes it creates problem when you convert 1 pixel to RAMs. That's why we recommend, whenever you have 1 pixel anywhere on the site, just keep it as 1 pixel. Yeah, that is what we have here. Then you can of course use Finsweet extension to convert the values in RAM. I will list down a few tools after going through the documentation. I will list down a few tools that you can use to increase your productivity, develop website faster with client first. One of them is of course Finsweet extension. Let's come to the typography strategy. So by default, we don't add classes to all the text elements. We recommend using, or you should basically apply default styles to the HTML text itself, like all heading ones, all H2s, all paragraphs, all links. So just go ahead, add default styles to the HTML tags itself, and it will make your work faster, and you won't have to keep adding classes. It's just the recommended way. So that's what we recommend to do. Then when you want to have a variation, you can always use utility classes. So there are utility classes for text styles, which is text style, let's say link, text style, strike through, text style, underline. So these are the utility classes that are available for text styles. What you can do is apply this utility class to any text element, and it will work on all of them. Same, we have text style classes for headings, and we call them heading style. H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. We have style for all of them. The reason is, let's say you have a heading 1, HTML H1, but you want it to look like an H3, or let's say you have a H3 or H2, but you want it to make it look like it is an H3. Sometimes we have those design variations, right? So what you can do is you can apply the heading style H3 to any headings available on your project, and it will mimic the style of an H3 element, or whichever class you use. That's how we do it. We recommend for text and typography, we recommend only using utility classes. So even if you need to create new classes, let's say for an example, I want to have an eyebrow, right? So I will take a text element right here. Let's say you want to add an eyebrow, or you can call it section title. So what, instead of creating, a custom class like eyebrow text, of course you can do this. This is not illegal. You can create eyebrow underscore text. What I would recommend instead is using this text style eyebrow. So this is now uh, a utility class that can be reused, and it's more specific now. It's more clear that this is a utility class. Text style eyebrow, and now you can style this. Let's say I want to add a border which is white, and there we go. This is how we do it. So now whenever you want a utility class, eyebrow, simply feel free to reuse this. You can also add some other styles like, hey, I want to have 0.5 rem spacing every time I use a eyebrow text style eyebrow. So I'm going to add this to the utility class itself that I just created, and it will work throughout the project. Sorry. Yeah. So that is how we have the typography strategy. Keep it global. Try to keep it global. You are allowed to create custom classes only when you are needed. I don't imagine a I think rarely imagine a text style which is only used on single page, single section. So when it's needed, you can do that. But in 95% or 99% of the case, you will be having reusable text styles. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Our point is prevent unnecessary class creation. The plus point of you going this way is again workflow speed and organization. You are organized when you are using Finsweet extension. Just a sneak peek here. We have folders here, so it's also much easy to organize your utility classes right here. So I think, for example, utility page. Okay, this is not utility classes is right here in the top, and you can see we have bunch of utility classes here. I can go to like maybe text, and I can see all the styles right here. Now folders make it easy for you to organize classes, rename classes in bulk. Again, I'm not going to dive into folders right now, but just to show you that we try to organize the classes properly throughout the project using client first. Yeah. Uh, Again, one important point is you are free to always customize any utility class. Let's say by default, this one is heading one. Let's apply a class of heading H3, heading style S3. Now it is styled as S3. By default, we deliver it at 2 rem, but you are free to always change the default values. Let's say I want it to be 3 rems. So again, you are free to always change styles of a default utility class, and it is recommended because in most of the cases you want it to be matching your project basically. There we go. And this particular point, I think I covered a different point, but again, at this point here, you can always combine two classes and create variation. Let's say I have a heading style H3, or let's take a different example, maybe text style medium, right? Text size medium. So this is now applying a text size of medium, and then I can add a text color to this on top of it as text color primary, which is not visible. So let's go to text color secondary. There we go. And you can see I can combine multiple utility classes to create a variation of a element instance. Yeah. So these are again all of the use cases of this strategy. Let's see. You can always create a new utility class system. So let's say you want to have a if we see this example, you want to have a utility set of text opacity, which only works for opacity, right? So you are always free to create new new utility sets. You just have to follow this convention, which is text the element dash the group you want to create. So text opacity, and then the identifier text opacity low, text opacity medium. You can see that we don't have the opacity number in there. And again, the reason is because we are flexible to change the values itself. We are not saying it's text opacity 20%, because now you are stuck at 20%. If you want to change it, you will have to change the opacity as well as class. So that's how we do it with client first. Text opacity low, medium, text opacity high. You can create new set of classes, utility classes for your project. Okay, sorry. Sorry for the break here. I'm just clearing the throat. So let's see. Again, there we go. We are again mentioning deep stacking here. Don't deep stack even if you want to create a variation. If something like this is happening on your project, just create a custom class. That is much better. Or create a new set of utility classes. Call it like textile, subtitle, see, textile, eyebrow, or something like that. If I want to create textile eyebrow using utility classes, existing ones, it will be hard because I need to go to textile small, then maybe textile underline, textile underline. There we go. If we have it, no, let's take an example of strike through, and see it can stack up. Then I will apply a background if I have it. So avoid it. Just create a new class, textile eyebrow, and custom style it. Much more efficient and better. Yeah, let's come to spacing strategy. Now we have a few different ways in our spacing strategies. It's You can choose your own and your development style. We have three different strategies. Right now we have spacing block strategy, which is basically empty div blocks in between two elements. So let's say I have, let me see how it is done here. So here it is. Okay, here we are using gap, so you can call it grid strategy, but I will remove this for now. So what is done, what basically happens is I can have a div block in between two elements, and I can add this like a spacer size class, which is a utility class, or I can add like option two is I can add a combination of padding direction and padding size. So for example, I can have here spacer small. There we go. And that's how I can create a space between two elements. On the navigator, you will see the space value itself is spacer medium and two of them. Or you can use the spacer wrapper strategy, where you are wrapping the content itself, or let's say the elements inside the component, and then adding space using that. So by that I mean, let's add wrap this element around a div block, and the element, the wrapper itself now will contain the spacing by using margin top, let's say, and then margin small or margin medium. Let's go with margin medium. There we go. So we use combination of a direction class and a size class. So margin tops tell us we want margin on top. Margin medium is the size itself. So these are the two ways. And there is one more, which is spacing grid strategy. Let me see if I can find it for you here. Spacing tips. Where is it? Oh, spacing. Let's see. Spacing grid strategy. There we go. CSS grid strategy. So you can have, you can basically use grid or gaps as well to create a space between elements. But in this case, you might have to create a spacing system for yourself. Like here, you can see a class for featured content wrapper, right? When you are adding space using gaps, uh, whenever you want to do it in a new component, you will have to define a new class, add the gapping again. So again, you might have to create a system of your own when you're using CSS grid strategy or gap strategy. Of course, we have variables now, so there is a big chance that on the next update of client first, we will have something to unify the global classes and custom classes so that they work. The spacing that you have is throughout consistent, whether you use custom classes or global classes, they both are coming from a variable. So that is, of course, something that we can do in future. But for now, for this version of client first, we have the third strategy. But I personally don't use this a lot, again, because of the custom classes creation that is present there. But again, it is here. You can definitely use it if you want to. You can maybe create classes like content, just like basic content, for example, content wrapper, right? Content wrapper is gap small, is gap large. So it's completely on you how you want to do it. So yeah, let's see. Again, this, you can see this is coming under the custom classes. So it's not part of the system itself, but you can do it if you want. So yeah, the spacing classes, again, spacing strategy, we have set of utility classes, the spacer classes, the margin, and the padding classes. These are the utility classes. There are two different strategies, or three different strategies, you can call it. Let's see what else we can cover in this. Utility spacing, uses of spacing block. Here we go. I think these are the things. Yeah, space between two elements. You can see the children in navigator. One plus point of using the spacing block strategy is you can have different spacing on top and bottom, because in some cases, in some of the designs, what we want to have is non similar space on vertical sides. So it's more on the top and less on the bottom. So you can add, let's say, padding large on the top one and padding small on the bottom one. So that's the flexible part of using the spacing block strategy. Yeah, feel free to read out the whole thing. I will go here. There is one thing that some people might be concerned while using a spacing block, which is, because we are using empty divs, it is pretty easy that you are going to have a lot of empty divs on your website just for the spacing. So we also did research on this. We also did, we've performed testing. Also, went out, basically, we communicated the experts and all. So we decided to come to this point and give you a solid answer to this concern, and which is, again, the short answer is no. It is very unlikely that it will create a problem for you. It is not going to hit performance as such. Yeah, I should say it should not hit the performance at all. We didn't notice any difference itself. You can try it yourself as well. But you are always good to use spacing block strategy. Some people find it easy to use, faster you to use for them. So you are always free to use the strategy. Don't worry about the empty divs that are present on all of the pages. Yeah, so that is what we basically, that's how we answer this question here. Feel free to read the full answer here. For example, we get this excessive dome size error in site performance test. Again, it's very unlikely you will get this error when you're using spacing block strategy. Okay, let's see. We have custom classes. You can always apply spacing to the custom classes, as I applied here for the eyebrow. I felt the need of adding a spacing here, and I did that. Now it's part of all of the eyebrows there. So feel free to add spacing to custom classes. It's completely depends on the use case. CSS grid strategy. There we go. We have responsive spacing. Again, feel free to read the whole thing. But we have here padding size and then padding section large. By default, you can basically change this throughout, like tablet, mobile. Select the class that you want to use. Let's say I take a div block and add a space a medium. So here on desktop it is like this, but if I go to mobile, you can see the padding is 1.25 rem. So by default, you are doing it like this, where you apply it to the class itself. But optionally, let's see how you can add it. So padding section large. Let's see an example. I want to show you an example here. There we go. So you can use something like is mobile small right here, or you can create maybe set of a utility class system, which is, I think it's not here, but again, it's possible to create utility which will override the classes when smaller breakpoints. But again, by default, what you can do, let me show you quickly a demo. So let's say we have a space on medium, and I want a variation here where it is even smaller than 1.2 rem. I will just call it like this, space on medium, and I will just change this to 1 rem. So this is how you can do it. Again, most of the cases you will not have to do it, but you are free to create a combo class when you need a variation for responsiveness of your site. We have some tips here. Feel free to go through that. Utility class systems. Let's jump into that topic. Utility classes. We have basically these are the set of classes that is already provided to you with the starter project. You can go to a style guide and see a lot of those classes in action here. There we go. We have main wrapper, content small. All of these classes are utility classes basically. So we have utility classes for structure, which is like padding global, container classes, and section classes, like padding small, padding section large. All of those are spacing classes for the structure. Then we have typographic classes, the default typography styles as well as the heading style classes. Same, we have text size, text style, text weight, text alignment for the alignment of the text color. So text color primary, secondary, alternate, primary. Let's say you have dark mode on your website, you can use text color alternate in that. So again, you have set of utility classes for text color. We have for buttons is secondary, is text, and we are using prefixes because it's a combo class right here. So that is what we have. We are shipping, I think there are a few buttons variation already available here. There we go. But you can feel free to create more based on the project. We have spacing classes as utility classes, margin, top, bottom, left, right, the directions, and the size. These are the default values of all of them, but you are free to create your own spacing system and change the values there. Sorry. And then we have padding directions, padding classes, padding sizes, remove all spacing if I want to remove spacing or margin and padding at the same time from any element. Just add this utility class and it will clean it. It's not just these heading styles and all. In utility classes, we also have classes that are like that comes in handy for most of the project, like changing z index. There we go, hiding something in tablet, hiding something in mobile. So these are some classes that we pre-cook and ship it with the starter project so that you don't have to create it when you're doing it. Feel free to use them. Display inline flex. Now Webflow comes with this inbuilt the designer. So you may want to skip this one. Most probably we will remove it from the next update. Max width classes are there to contain your content in a max width. There are multiple with default values. You can always change the values. Let's see icon sizes. We have few for icons. We have background colors. Then some useful utilities to build with, like z-index 1, z-index 2, align center, layer which sets a position to position absolute, pointer events none. Now again, this is part of the Webflow designer, so feel free to use it, or you can skip it if you want to and directly use a custom class now itself. We created this utility class because originally it was this CSS style was not part of the Webflow's designer, but now it is part of the Webflow designer right here. Event, you can set it to auto and none. Then we have the global embeds, which contains some CSS, custom CSS, which is very helpful for your Webflow project. And some of the utility classes works because global embed contains the style for it. Global embed, as name suggests, this is something that you should have in all of the pages of your project. Keep it outside the main wrapper. You can keep it just after the inside the page wrapper. This makes sure that the CSS is loaded as soon as the page loads. The first thing it loads is the CSS basically. So it contains all the style. If you want to add more CSS to your website, which is going to be global, we recommend it adding to this embed itself and not creating a separate embed. So you always have this embed which you can use for any CSS you want to have in your project. Yeah. Sorry. Let's see what else we have here. Global embed. We have class strategy 2. So again, there are more Strategies. I think don't have to cover this one. Yeah, yeah. This is a strategy. I will recommend you going through it uh, on the documentation. Let's see. Uh, Folders. Okay, so folders is part of client first system, which helps you organize your classes. We use Finsweet extension to enable this feature. So you can install Finsweet extension where you can see visualization of classes on your project. So that is what folder is doing. You can change a whole group. You can rename the whole thing. This is highly useful when you are using something like Relume library, right? Because they have components like layout 47, layout 48, and instead of manually renaming all of them, you can use folders, rename all of the component in one go. So that is one more use, and you can see all the classes that are part of a folder, basically a part of a component. You can locate them on any page, and basically it just makes the organization a bit smoother. Some people might not use it in the project. Of course, it's not a mandatory thing, but using it definitely helps. Especially when you are using a library, a pre, like, yeah, like something like Relume library. Uh, Sorry. Then let's see the next thing what we have here. Folders strategy. Feel free to go through this. I think I don't have to cover this right now. Variables new. So we introduced variables in this version of Client First. There is a need of a new version now as Webflow updated the variables. So we are definitely going to update the Client First system to have more variables. But because at this point of time the responsive variables were not possible, so we decided only to use colors for now. So you have basically color variables, brand colors, neutral color, and we have a guideline of how you can name them. So here base collection. So I think let's go here, base collection. You can see how we have named it. Base color brand. So we have a basically collection of base color, and then just adding more context basically here, which is brand, then set of neutral colors right here, then system colors, then background colors. Now you can see background color is kind of getting its value from the original color, original base colors. That's why it doesn't contain a base in there. It's more like a custom collection that you have created, and these are getting value from the original tokens. So the term we use for that is uh, it's basically the theming that I'm talking about. Let me get you the exact terms. So the first term is primitive tokens, and the second term is semantic tokens, right? So the base colors and base variables that you see here are the primitive tokens, and the ones here, background color, which are basically dependent on the primitive tokens, are going to be called as semantic tokens. So that is what we are doing here, and we have guidelines on how you should name them, like element, style, and identifier. Identifier is very important right here. So background, border. So you can, let's see if we have border in there. No, we don't have border. Oh, we have border. Okay. So you can create a group of border and add border primary, secondary, alternate. And because these are semantic tokens, they will take value from your base colors. So that is what we have, semantic tokens. Again, one important thing to keep in mind is semantic does not contain the name itself does not contain a specific value. Like it should not be, uh, for an example, it should not be background red. It breaks the purpose of semantic. So that is also originally what semantic means as well, right? So it should not be super specific. It should be more global, you can say. So background primary is collected to black. Now in the base collection you can have more specific naming. So here you can use blue light, or you can use blue 100 as well. So blue 100, let's say blue 200, and blue 300 example. So in primitive tokens you can use those values if you want to, but in semantic tokens don't use it. Use something like primary, secondary, which is semantic, and it doesn't lock you out in a value basically. So yeah, that is what this is doing here. We have semantic tokens and primitive tokens. Once the next version of client first comes out, this will change a bit. We will be adding sizes to it, and we will find the best way to kind of again have the sweet spot where it's easy to organize as well as is easy to manage. We don't want to make it super difficult because sometimes variables can get complex. Yeah, but let's see. I don't have anything to give right now about the next update really, but it is definitely going to be part of the next update. Okay, that are variables. Now the last thing I want to cover is interaction naming, and we have a guideline on how you should name your interaction. It can get pretty messy when having a lot of interactions on your page. Webflow crashed again. Let me refresh. So it's better to have a naming convention for your interactions. How we define it is with the element itself, the action plus state, or one of them. Uh, so, for example, an element is FAQ, accordion, like sort button, arrow, a button itself, right? The action itself is the action that interaction is doing. So rotate, open. Open is the state. So rotate is the action, and state is open. Open can sometimes also be an action as well, like open and close. Uh, Again, you can have one thing here as well. So short button, arrow. For example, FAQ. Then instead of having both of them in FAQ, you can have open, because click is going to be part of both of them. So again, you are feel free to use action or state or both of them. So in this example, we have short button, arrow, rotate, open. So when it is opening, I want to rotate the button arrow itself. The naming should provide maximum context with minimal words. That is the goal when we are naming interactions. We use square brackets to to separate out this for better readability. So when you are in Webflow interaction panel, I don't think we will have a lot here. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have it here. But again, when you are having, let's say, 20 interactions or 100 interactions, it will be easier for you to read the whole thing. Yeah, some examples. Button, arrow, move in. So here you see that we just have one thing, move in, which is the action. Then button, arrow, move out. Or you can have both, show, scroll in, hide, scroll out, nav menu, open, close. Feel free to go through all the examples here. We have some action keywords here: show, hide, move, rotate, scale. You can use them. This is just like suggestions that are present here. There we go. I think I have covered most of the part. Now there are other things as well, like let's cover these three as well, and then supporting content is something which you are feel free to read if you want to understand more. We have fluid responsiveness. Again, this is not mandatory on all of the project, but I personally use it on most of my projects, and we recommend using it. It makes sure that your website is fluid and adapts better to different display sizes. And when you scale the window, your site also adapts better to different screen sizes. So if you compare a site made without fluid responsiveness and with responsiveness, you will find the one with fluid responsiveness adapting the display better. For example, in tablet, in mobiles, use cases can be very vast. So yeah, basically that's the if you want to use it, go ahead and use it using the Finsweet extension. So Finsweet extension basically enables you to generate the code that is needed. This is all used creating CSS. No JavaScript is used here. So simply go to Finsweet extension, Fluid Design Generator, and here you can change the values. I think I might not be able to give a full demo of this here because it can take a lot of time. But again, you are basically changing the values using the graphs. There we go. And you are changing the root font size value. So on, let's say on 1440, I want this to be 16 pixels, but on 479 pixel, which is the mobile, I want this to close solely down to 14. Now, because all the site is based on rem, which are root EMs, so the value of rem is defined by the root font size. as you are changing the root font size using this tool or CSS, the whole site will adapt. Like it will get bigger and smaller scale according to change in the RAM value. So that is what essentially we are doing. Once the code is generated, copy it to clipboard, go to global styles embed, and just like that, add it to the bottom. Like here, there we go. Or you can add it to the top. It doesn't matter. But yeah, this is how we do fluid responsiveness, and that's it. Your site will get fluid. Yeah, the next is semantic HTML tag. We have shared all the tags and suggestions on how to use them. Then we have accessibility. Here you can find some really great tips about making your website accessible. Uh, Again, I think it is a very important topic. A lot of times we miss making things accessible. For example, quick things that I can think of right now, or let's say focusable elements. It is very important that your website is kind of navigable. You should be able to navigate your website using keyboard when we don't have focus on our, let's say, form elements or anywhere else in the page. It becomes less accessible and it's hard to basically say it doesn't work, right? So here we have a set of guidelines, you can say, for accessibility as well. Feel free to go through it. There is one more. There we basically have defined a lot of accessibility guidelines here, but there is one more. There is one more solution which I personally use all the time. Let me show you. Finsweet's accessibility. Let's see. I am not sure if the link is here. I will open it in a separate tab. So you can go to Finsweet attributes and here type accessibility. So there is a solution itself. So you just need to copy the script, go to your project, custom code, and add the script there. And it will enable a lot of cool accessibility features. Like when you have tab index, when you have role is equal to button, it will get clickable. It will add and remove. It will make the accordions clickable and also definitely very helpful while making accessibility work for you. So yeah, please go through the document in detail. I personally try to make as accessible as possible sites. Again, this is a wide topic, I think, and maybe we can do a stream about how we can make most like accessible site as much as possible. Yeah, sometimes you can get maybe 100% score in Lighthouse or Google Insights, but still you will miss some of the accessibility there because it is not considering them there. So yeah, so your scores might be 100, but the site might not be completely accessible. So yeah, that's the thing. So please go through this and understand more about accessibility and how you can use it with Client First. So I think I have quickly covered an overview of all the topics that we have. Yeah, I think I can create the homepage of webflow.com, but I would like to hear your thoughts if I should move ahead right now, Jeremy, with that, or yeah, what we should do now. Should we go ahead and create it?
How how long do you think it
Oh,
would
Penny.
take to do that?
I think we can do it in like 15 minutes, maybe.
What do you think, folks who are in the call here? Are you able to stay and watch this? I think it might be helpful for other folks who are watching the YouTube replay later.
Yeah, I guess if you have time, for people that are rewatching this, it would probably be handy to look at.
I might have to jump off myself there, but I definitely appreciate the demo as well. That was I do use Client First myself, but there's a couple of things, insights coming from yourself there that was helpful for sure, especially the accessibility one.
Right, Jeremy,
Perfect.
you were saying something.
Yeah, let's cover them first. Yeah, we should do QA first, 100%. So yeah, feel free
So
to ask any
Patrick had a
question.
question. Patrick had a question. This is kind of a niche question for heavily nested design setups. I'm just curious if there's a general rule where it should be broken up to a new component.
Let
What's going
me
to
see the
create a
question.
new component?
I will open up YouTube really quick.
It's actually here in our chat here in the lodge.
Oh, okay. Just a second. Oh, okay. I can see the chat option here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Patrick, let's see. At what point do you create a new component? Example, hero FAQ testimonial F_testimonial_ contact wrapper. This is kind of niche question for heavily nested design setups, but I'm just curious. There is a general rule. So there is not really a general rule, I would say, Patrick. Again, the examples that you shared, like hero_FAQ_testimonial_contact wrapper, that is possible, but do you really need that long name for it? I would personally not do that, and I will switch to a new component name, like maybe hero_contact. That's it, or hero_contact wrapper. So that is what I think I would do. But if there is use case for that, I think it's completely fine. It's just, you are creating a very long name, a very specific component. So if you are having a very specific component, maybe just have a new name for it. Yeah, I hope that answered the question, but let me know if there is any confusion. So the example you shared, I would not do that. I will create a new component out of it because it's a long name right there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Nancy had to leave, but said thank you. So sure, let's go ahead and do the Webflow hero section.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Oh, sorry. Thanks.
It only renames the classes. As of now, it's only renaming the classes. Yeah. Perfect. But that's a great suggestion. We can definitely look into renaming the interaction as well. Yeah. As of now, it's manual because you just have to maybe rename a few interactions, but in terms of classes, there are multiple ones. So, but again, that's a great suggestion. I will pass this feedback to the team if we can do something about this. Before creating the Webflow's landing page, let me first log out my Webflow really quick so that you don't see my dashboard, like messed up dashboard. So I think I will log out really quick.
Sure,
And
most of us have a messed up dashboard.
yeah. Let's see. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah, Harshit, I have a quick question for you. I had saved a bunch of the old original client first layouts. Do those get updated as client first gets updated? Like, if I was to go to your site, if I downloaded a template, would that be up to date with the new system, the latest version?
Yeah, that's a nice question, Penny. So by default, the starter project that you are copying is always up to date. However, there can be we do updates to those clonables as well. The other clonables you are talking about, the live builds that we did, the starter project, like the templates of component library, that there are a few templates out there as well. So we do definitely update them, but there can be a few out there which are not updated, maybe like the live build that we have done, right? So I would prefer prefer doing a new live build with the latest system instead of going and updating the current one. Of course,
Yeah.
I can update that, but there can be a few sites that are left. We try to update all of our clonables. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. So, by the way, because the variations that you see in the client first system is not that much over the time, so there is a high chance, like 90% or 80% of the thing is still going to be same if you are copying a clonable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because the core principles are there. Yeah. So it's always a good starting point. you can use any template available. Yeah, let's see Webflow's hero section here. So this is the hero section. I think I will just create this part, the top part, and maybe up to cards. Let's see how far we can go. I'm not going to jump into the mega menu because that's a
No.
topic on its own. Yeah. And before I jump into creating this, I would like to share a few extensions that are very helpful. I use them on all of my projects. So I will share them so that you are more efficient with building with client first. First one is Finsweet extension for Webflow. Of course, you get a lot of features, but for client first, you have fluid responsiveness and the folders. Then Relume extension, 100%, you should have it. So go ahead and add this to your Webflow. And the third one is the one I created myself because I felt the need of it. This extension is started as an experiment to learn about extensions, and it came out to be pretty helpful for people out there. So there are right now 2,000 users using it actively for their client first builds. What this does is instead of using a table every time for your reference, you can convert the rem values directly inside the designer. So like 100 and hit space, it will convert it. I'm not going to demo the whole extension in this stream, but I think this is a must-have extension for your project. Feel free to use it. And it also helps you name your classes faster. It remembers the values basically that you have. Oh, just a second, Webflow.com. Okay. So it remembers the value that you're typing and helps you rename or create new component classes faster. I think I closed the project by mistake because I logged out of Webflow. Let me see how we can do this then. Should I share the whole window? Let's see. Or maybe I should just not build Webflow.com or something else. Let's try to build this Relume header itself. Yeah, because when I go to Webflow.com, I need to log out. Or if you have any recommendations, please tell me. I'm logging in back. Yeah, nice. I will go ahead and create that. Okay, I think my screen is visible.
Yes.
So let's delete this. There we go. Section, pin wrapper. I think I will delete up to this point. I will quickly show you the nav component structure. So we have nav component, then we have padding global, then we have a separate nav container because generally the nav container is different from the original container. So we have created a new container here. Nav underscore brand. This is coming from the parent component name, nav underscore, nav menu, nav button. Let's say I want to add more buttons in there, right? So what I will do is I will simply create copies of the original button. Let's say I want to have a button in there. So I will quickly add a button like this, call this button. There we go. And if I have a specific style, I can quickly go ahead and change the original classes like this. Let's see if I have a secondary button. Okay, or I can create a button specific to navbar where I can change the background color of it like this. There we go. Or I can use the background color itself if I want to. There you go, background color base or background color secondary, sorry. And you can see how we have the navbar, but let's jump to the main section itself. So I will take a div block, or you can take a section element. Div blocks are generally more flexible. Call it section underscore hero. This is simple. I will remove all the colors and background gradients. That is what I will do. Let's also remove them from the navbar. And the links are having white color, so I'm just resetting them right now. Let's see if I can get the Relume logo. Oh no, this is a link. Save image. Cool. Okay, I got the Relume part of it, not the complete thing. Let's see if I can get the second one as well. Okay, I can get it. There we go. So I'm just dragging it inside Webflow. Okay, so that it is present in my asset panel. There we go. Nice. So you can see now we have this. I will change this logo, nav brand, and I will add an image here, replace it with the logo. Because we have two of them, I will duplicate it, and I can replace it with the name now. Again, it might be how I'm structuring it. It might be different than the original Relume website, but I'm going to add here nav brand text, and I will call this nav brand. You can see I'm hitting shift and adding the class name again using the Portrait extension. So nav brand icon. There we go. I will give this. Let's see. I will give this a width of 4 rem, or that's maybe small. Yeah, 6 rem, 2 rem. Yeah, and auto, set height to auto. Then I will set the position of this element as position absolute. There we go, and set the nav print to relative, which is already relative. So you can see that the logo is looking pretty good there. Let's see. So we have the navigation into two parts, which is the middle links and the right one. You can have different type of structure there, but let's see if I can create the exact same thing. So what I will do is I will have the nav menu, create a div block inside this and call this as nav menu left, or you can use underscore if you want to, but dash itself is also fine here. And put everything inside this, which goes to the left side. And I will wrap the button on the nav menu right. So you can see the name itself defines the purpose of the wrapper. I will then expand the nav bar like this, add a flex, and separate them like this right here. Then I can define how much I want this to be. Let's say max of 70%. Again, there can be better ways to create this. I'm not here right now explaining the best way to create this section, but just trying to replicate what is in there. Of course, there can be better ways to do this so that it's in actual center. For example, you can move the button out itself like this and have something like this. There we go. And now it's kind of in the center itself. Yeah, again, let's go back and do this. So we have these links right here. Let's reduce the padding a little bit. There we go. So products, community, pricing. Let's close this. Products. Oh, products. Then we have, okay, I should probably get this. Let's open setting and products. Unity. Okay, there's a typo in there. Community and pricing and learn. So pricing, earn, and contact sales. Let's do that. Here we go. So you can see this structure. There is no background color, or I think there is a very mild off-white there. So I will remove the background color from here. Make it transparent. Here we go. And the button is black. So let's go to button. There we go. It's already black. Cool. I will reduce maybe the padding a little bit to match how they are doing it. And I don't know why double click doesn't work very smoothly. There you go. So I will do this. Add to Chrome. Maybe reduce the size to 14 pixel. Yeah, for all the buttons on the page. Let's add the zero section. It might look a little different because I just want to show the demo. And I'm happy to do any live builds in future with No Code North as well. So let's create section hero. Inside this, I will add padding global. So padding global, there we go. And then we will add a container, medium, or maybe container large. Yeah, let's change the base to 1440. There we go. Then you can see we have a tag element here or an eyebrow element. Then we have a heading, a paragraph, and a button, and then again a subtext here. So I will quickly add those elements. A heading, I will add a div block for the eyebrow. And now because it's not a single text, I will create eyebrow component. Oh, I added this to heading, my bad, sorry. Let's add it to the div block, the component. I will add a heading itself here and a paragraph. Let's see where it is coming from, section hero. Rename this, there we go. Then we have a button right here. So I will create a div block, take a button inside this and add a button inside this and give this a class of button. Personally, I like to create a button group global class so that I can add multiple buttons in there, right? So is, let's say, secondary. So this is how I like to personally do it. Then we have container. Inside container, I have not created the component. So let's create a hero component like this. Add all of it here. There we go. I will take the heading, boost your productivity in Webflow. Okay. Then for some reason, I'm unable to copy the text from this site. So let's keep this as lorem ipsum. This will be add to Chrome. There we go. By default, all the button groups generally have top padding. So I personally like to add spacing directly to it. Same, most of your heading in your website will have bottom spacing. So by default, it doesn't ship with a bottom spacing, but I personally like to add some spacing on all of my headings like this. Paragraph, the text seems a bit larger, so we will go with text style. Text style, text size. I bet text size medium. There we go. Let's set a max width to the content. Before that, actually, let's do that. So I will wrap everything. There are a few ways to do this. So you can create a max class here. So max width, maybe let's go with medium. Okay, that's too small. Max width large. Yeah, this looks good. Align center. So this is what I did using an align center class, and I will take everything in there. I will set text align to center as well, just like this. And button, for button group, I will create a new combo class called its center. Yeah. Just like this. Yeah, and let's see. I will reduce the paragraph a little bit to match the design. Here we go. And we will create a tag, eyebrow text. So let's add a background, some radius to it. So right now I can add radius directly, but again, you can use variables. This is not officially part of the client first, but we are going to create update on it. So right now I'm going to just use simple design. It's in style panel, setting a border radius to 4 pixels, which is 0.25 grams. Adding a background, which might not be exactly as Relume, but here we go. Let's see if I can drag and drop this icon. No. So I need to save the image. Here we go. Call this eyebrow icon. And there is this typo. So let's call it eyebrow icon. Because now I have typed it, the next thing I will take is text and call it eyebrow text. So this is what I'm doing. And now eyebrow component itself is kind of reusable. The size I'm going to give this is 1 rem. Okay, I'm not sure what is wrong with Webflow. So it is not taking, okay, it is taking the sizes, but it is not showing it for some reason. 1 rem and auto. Cool. Let's set the original size to 20 pixels or 16 pixels. I'm adding inline sizes for to reduce the CLS, which is cumulative layout shift. That's a good practice. You should do it. Or maybe I should do it 1.5 rem here. 1.5 rem, which is I think 24. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, and then the eyebrow text. Let's see, Relume Chrome extension. So Relume Chrome, what is going on? Oh, okay. Eyebrow component, eyebrow icon. I was giving the size to a wrong element. Nice. So flex, and I think I can do inline flex. There we go. Add 0.5 gap in there. Add a little bit of padding, maybe 8 on all of the sides. And in top and bottom, I will make it 4. So 4 like this. There we go. And add a background. I think I need to increase the border radius. There we go. Relume Chrome extension. It's in semi bold, I believe. So let's do that. Maybe add this here. I will increase the border radius and I will change the text inside to medium. So you can see this is how I created it. The hero section, all H1s, I want this to be normal, all medium. You can see I'm changing all H1 text. I'm not creating a new class for it. And here we go. We have, I think, the hero section for it. This was again a quick overview of it. Let me see if I can reduce the padding itself. Minimum height is set 200 VH. That is what happens. So the old style was coming here. So there is one class I'm missing here, which is padding section, then size. So I can type here padding section large, and you can see now it is applied. I can have a separate layer if I want to of this padding section large, which will live above the container large. So I can wrap the container large inside padding section large. So sometimes I prefer doing it this way, but to reduce the nesting basically inside navigator, or to reduce the layers inside navigators, I think that's the better term. You can add it here, and that's how we do it by default with client first. Now here we go, and this is how we have the hero section, and there is one small thing missing here. You can see this eyebrow text is getting reused. So what you can do is simply copy the eyebrow text, or you can create a component of it if you want to. So call it eyebrow component, something like this. And let's say when I'm reusing this, I will duplicate the section, unlink the instance, replace the image, replace the text, new text here, and I will replace the image. It will work like that. So I will delete this one, add a new text. It should not be part of the button group. It's right here. I can give the text right here, let's say 2000 plus users. I think there are more than 20,000. So let's be fair. There we go. 20,000 plus users. And I can wrap this element around a div block called margin top, margin medium, margin small. Let's see. Here we go. And the section is created now. Users. Yeah. I think that is how the basics works basically. But yeah, feel free to have ask any questions or let me know if I'm missing anything here.
I think that's great. I think being able to see sort of how you use those sort of standard class names to quickly put this together is really helpful. And sort of where you make adjustments to that sort of standard layout, standard naming, and then adjust it for the actual build. So I think that was really helpful and would give folks a good starting point.
Yeah, thank you, Penny. Yeah, in this small demonstration as well, we covered creating custom classes like this.
Mhm.
It's the global custom class, which I was talking about. So it is reusable, but it is custom. We used
Mhm.
some of the HTML tags. We also used some utility classes like text size medium and also max width large. So these are the uses of these kind of utility classes. I don't have to create them. They are pre-shipped with some of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's a good way to start, but I'm very happy in future we can do full live builds of some websites as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we haven't seen full live builds in a while, so I think definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Penny. Yeah. Before I finish the presentation, I want to share with you that we are working on the client first certification. There was hold for some time, but now it is finally ready for us to share with you, and we are excited to for you to be part of it. The launch date is 18th March for the client first certification. You can sign up for for an update whenever it comes out. So this is the link which you can use: client first certification dash waiting dash list. Go ahead if you want to be certified. Again, this is for the users who are good at client first. If you are starting at client first, don't apply yet. Get good at it. Get good at it, and then only apply for it. Because if you are good at client first, we want to help you win more opportunities with a certificate. So that's the goal of this certification, to basically so that basically you have more trust and you win more opportunities when it comes to Webflow. Yeah, feel free to check out this page and apply for the notification whenever it comes out.
Okay.
What's
that
the
is what I want
process
to-
gonna be like, out of curiosity, for the certification?
That's a nice question. So I will just give a brief of the process. So basically, it applies with an application. So you will create an application inside the portal. You will get a full-fledged portal itself. It contains expert directory where all the verified experts will be listed, very similar to what Webflow is doing with their own expert library. So there will be a client-first expert library as well, or certified library, you can call it. So when you apply for it, uh, the step one is going to be a theory exam. You will have to pass a theory exam, which proves your fundamental knowledge about client first, which is going to be an automated exam. The step two again is going to be a manual review from Finsweet. So someone like me or a client first expert from the team will be reviewing your builds and checking it on different eligibility criteria, like your core structure, if you are following the core structure or not, if you are following the class naming guidelines or not, if you are following the interaction naming or not. So everything that I shared with you on the documentation, you must be following that. Again, it's kind of, because client first is flexible, we will be very open to have different your versions of client first as well. It's completely fine, but you should you should be following the principles of client first for sure. So that is how it is going to be done. Once the manual review is passed, you will get the certificates. You will be listed on the expert directory, and basically that's how you are going to win more opportunities. Yeah, that's how we will help you win more opportunities. So that is the overview of it. But we will have soon more things about it, uh, and we can talk more about this maybe during the launch. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see that.
It's exciting.
It is. It is. The more things that Webflow developers can use to show, their knowledge and their expertise, the better. There's lots of
Definitely.
competition out there with different different systems.
definitely. Yeah. Okay. So I
All
think,
right.
yeah, that was it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the stream.
Great.
I will let Penny continue. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I really enjoyed it at No Code North. Thank you so much for inviting me for this presentation. Uh, Client First is amazing. Go ahead and try it. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to. If you have any questions, we will continue to more streams. I would love to be part of another stream with No Code North. I will let you take it from here, Penny.
Okay, great, excellent. So anybody who's used the Relume system will recognize a lot of what you're seeing in Client First. And so if you want to understand, the components that you get from Relume and being able to do more with them, being able to use the Client First, getting deeper into Client First is the next step you need to take. So. I want to thank, and hang on 1 second, I'm just clear my throat there. That didn't work very well, but I want to thank everybody for showing up today and for taking in this. And I want to let you know that this will be live on our YouTube, of course. Follow our YouTube channel. Follow us visit our website at nocodenorth.com and sign up for our mailing list so you'll hear about future events. We're open to everybody and host events every Friday, either in the lodge or on YouTube. Next week, we'll be having our just general hangout. So come and share what you're working on, bring your questions, whatever. It's just private in the lodge. We don't record those. And then on March 21st, we're going to be having lightning demos. So if you have something you want to demonstrate, might be a great opportunity for Harshit to come and show us the potato extension or something like that, right? That we're just, short 5-minute, demonstrate something, answer a few questions, and then we move on to the next one. So we've got a sign up form for that. And on March 28th, we're going to have Brantford, Ontario-based Webflow Designs, which is Renee Lacroix, who was here in the meeting with us today, and Rick Beaulieu. This is their design agency, and they do really great work. And Renee mentioned that he uses Client First, so that's good to know. And we're going to be having a Northern Showcase with them to introduce them to you and show you more of their work. So I hope you'll all join us for that. And otherwise, we will see you hopefully next week at a hangout. In the meantime, take it easy. Bye.